Did Nick Kurtz just have the greatest single offensive performance in MLB history? MLB Game Night is on the air.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only Locked On can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That handsome fella over there in the Syracuse Mets hat, I believe, is Steve Lennox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Follow him on the X at Lennox on Baseball. Steve, a lot of stuff to get to. Kyle Stowers, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. A battle broke out in Chicago between the Cubs and the White Sox, and the Rockies made a trade and then rallied for a win in the same day. Before we get to that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. We have to start with the Athletics on the road in Houston, second game of a 4-game series. The Athletics win 15-3, but the story here, Steve. Okay, since the RBI became a stat in 1920, there has been only one MLB player in the course of his entire career do these 5 things: have a game with four home runs, have a game with 5 extra base hits, have a game with 6 hits, 6 runs, and 8 RBI. That one player is Nick Kurtz, and he did all of that tonight. Am I wrong for thinking that this is the greatest single game offensive performance in baseball history?
I think you can say, and if we want to cover ourselves, say top 3 all time. I don't know what the other 2 would be right now, but for a rookie, hands down.
Yeah.
He did
First
it
rookie
on July,
to ever have a 4-home run game.
Yeah, he did it on July 25th, 2025.
I mean, and you made the point here in the rundown. He probably wins a Rookie of the Year just based off of this right here. I can't imagine Jacob Wilson catching him. I mean, it's
his teammate.
And if you remember last night, he had 3 hits, 2 doubles, and an RBI to get the win in the opener. So this is now like the A's have won first 2 games of the series, and Kurtz is sitting here on 23 homers and 59 RBI. The wild thing, he was drafted a month and 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. A year and 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry. A year and 2 weeks ago. We've seen players, especially recently, get to the majors super quickly. But to get to the majors and do this just blows my mind.
You know, Jeff and I talked, Lindsey, about him last night. As you mentioned his numbers from game 1 of the series in Houston. And, Caglione comes up and everyone thought he's going to be on fire right away. Nick Kurtz was very similar in the sentiment of he's going to come up and he's going to be a bat in that lineup. And, okay, he's taking his lumps here. He should. But overall, the numbers are phenomenal. And this is like the Heisman Trophy voting. A good week in early, mid-October. That could seal the deal for a running back or a quarterback in the Heisman Trophy for the upcoming college football season.
You have that statement game.
You have that statement game. This was a statement game for Nick Kurtz. People aren't forgetting this one anytime soon. It's going to be talked about throughout the weekend across baseball.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's not just like a big game here. The month of July, he's batting .425 with a 1576 OPS, 11 homers, 13 more doubles, and 27 RBI. It is bonkers. I want to proudly say when Nick Kurtz came up, I grabbed him in fantasy.
There you go.
And he has been holding down my first base spot when Bryce Harper got hurt. When Harper came back, I left Harper in the utility spot and left Kurtz at first base. So you can get lucky there. Speaking of Harper, his team rallied. Phillies in the Bronx to take on the Yankees. Phillies scored 10 runs in the final 3 innings to beat the Yankees 12-5. Here is our buddy Connor Thomas from Locked On Phillies at the game, all about how this game went.
The Phillies take down the New York Yankees behind enemy lines. Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. Offensive explosion in Game 1. And Kyle Schwarber is the real MVP of tonight's start of the series. 2 home runs by him, 12 runs total. The Phillies, the offense they showed in the final game against the Red Sox, it carried up to New York tonight. It's great. Do you hear that in the Bronx? It's pretty quiet up here, and the reason why is the Phillies showed off. Now, Taijuan Walker wasn't great. The bullpen was okay, but it doesn't matter when you hit like that. And this is why the bullpen needs help, because the lineup is going to be just fine. Harper can hit. Schwarber can hit. JT home runs in back-to-back games. Bryson Stott double tonight. The lineup's going to be fine. But they need to pick up at the bullpen, and this team is a bona fide World Series contender. So, I love what they did tonight. We'll see if they can do it again tomorrow with Ranger Suarez on the mound. We'll talk on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
I love that jersey.
Yeah, the baby blues.
Did I just take the words out of your
mouth?
I
was going the exact same thing.
All
I love the baby blues. It's such a good jersey.
Because I think they wore that, the Dodgers on Friday wore Brooklyn Dodger hats with Hall of Fame weekend. You can wear like an old style cap, and they had that. I don't know if you'd call it a deep maroon, dark maroon or something, but that 70s, 80s Phillies hat, they really transitioned when they went into Citizens Bank with the different reds and stuff. Connor was sporting it right there. Hey, yeah. I wish we could text Connor right now just to make sure he got out of the Bronx.
I'll text him the next time we play a video. I'll text him, make sure he's okay. I want to hear more from him on this weekend, but this is the Philly offense we were all expecting all year, right? Like they are down 5-2 going into the 7th, and they win this game 12-5 because Real Muto has a 3-run shot there in the 7th. Schwarber had 35 and 36 of the season there. He's now at 1,000 career hits. Trey Turner had a triple and 4 total hits in this one. This is what we expected. Is this a bigger win for the Phillies or a bigger loss for the Yankees? Like, does this make the Yankees do more to fix their bullpen at the deadline?
They better, because I'll tip my cap and we'll appreciate what the Phillies offense is capable of. But that bullpen for the Yankees right now, no, you're not getting through. You're just not. You might get through the wild card round. You may get through the divisional round. I don't think you get back to the World Series if they stand put with the bullpen right now. They had Ryan McMahon. So you think they shore up themselves defensively, but all you heard Friday was, that's not a big bat. That's not a big bat. That's not Suarez from the Diamondbacks. No, but that's a guy who can play the hot corner, and you can leave him there. And you may need to sacrifice offense, but you have plenty of offense just to get stabilized on the left side of that infield.
Yeah, like you've got to figure out more. And I think you can make it do with the offense you have if the bullpen can be better. Like, I think the offense is good enough if the bullpen's better. You get better performances out of, Volpe. Chisholm does more like what you expect him to do. He plays more like the size of his chatter versus his actual numbers. Okay. Another team that is just playing out of their minds right now. Marlins at Brewers. 61 wins for the Brewers here, but they lose the opener to the Marlins at home 5-1. Here's our buddy Jeremiah Geiger. He's not in the new house. He's outside the new house to talk about what his fish did here.
The Marlins go out and take care of business against the Brewers. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. Milwaukee, by record, is the best team in baseball, and the Marlins handled them in the first game of the series. Cal Quantrill went 5 innings, 1-run ball, really solid performance. The bullpen threw up zeros, and Otto Lopez had a 3-hit day, including the go-ahead tie-breaking double that ended up plating 3 runs. There was an error in the outfield. The Marlins win the game 5-1, and they can win another series against these guys tomorrow. Let's go Fish.
Kyle Stowers, to me, is the big story here, right? He has 23 home runs on the year now, but just like we talked about we talk about Nick Kurtz being hot in the month of July. Last 7 games, last 8 games for Stowers, 7 homers, 14 RBI. Am I wrong for thinking like the Marlins are ahead of schedule when they have an offense like this?
It's going to be interesting because, they sold off pieces last year. You're thinking Alcantara is going. They may move a couple of pitchers here.
Cabrera may go, yeah.
Cabrera could go. But again, you're looking for guys that are AA or AAA. They're going to help you next year. I think they're ahead. Yeah, I would say that. And I think I think I said this multiple times. I'm getting tired of hearing myself say it, but they're at the top of my list of teams that are just going to be, they're not that far off from 500, but they're going to be a pain in the neck to teams they have on the schedule that are fighting for either division, Mets, Phillies, top of that NL East division, or teams in the National League that are fighting for a wild card the rest of the way. If you've got the Marlins on the schedule, don't think you're just winning the series. They're gonna be there. They're gonna compete every single game, and they're in Milwaukee right now. And they took the opener against another hot team.
Yeah, the Brewers have been so good recently, and they just keep doing it. Like I've said this a dozen times on this show now. I don't know how they consistently do it, and they consistently do it, and it's incredibly impressive. Yeah. Okay, Blue Jays at Tigers, 2 60-plus win teams, 2 first-place teams. This is one. Blue Jays win this 6-2. They pick up 2 runs in the 4th, 4 runs in the 5th on 13 hits. I feel like this is the type of team that the Tigers can struggle with, right? Jose Barrios goes in, gives you a quality start. He's not giving up a bunch of hard contact. He only walks, I think, 2 guys in here. Does give up a homer to Torque, but he's not letting you just hit the ball all around the yard. And it's an offense that can put up runs in a hurry. And I think this is kind of the weakness of the Tigers here. They've lost 5 in a row. They've lost 11 of their last 12. They were swept by the Pirates. And now this. Should we be concerned about the Tigers? Or is this everybody has a bad 2 weeks of baseball?
That's the theme this year, is everyone has a bad 2 weeks of baseball, and they're in that stretch right now. We had Scott Bentley, Locked On Tigers, on Thursday's show.
So
and
good.
Right now, our guy Riley Green is, he's striking out every other bat just about right now. If I can, I'll push pause to your initial question that I always seem to deflect.
Yeah.
I'm not going to push the panic button just yet, but if they lose on Saturday with Schoolbull, my finger's on the button and I'm hitting it a couple times. Like when you're at the elevator and you think, hey, if I hit it 8 more times, it's going to the doors are going to automatically pop open.
I was about to say, it's a Schoolbull day on Saturday. I still do think they're a prime team to go grab a veteran bat simply because it's a lot of young dudes in that clubhouse. And I just think
Scott mentioned
that works.
Gleyber Torres, Javier Baez, great stories, but sort of coming back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, go out. I don't know if they're going to go as big as Eugenio Suarez, but it feels like they are a go grab a veteran and stick them in there because it will help everybody else in that clubhouse. All right. Guardians Royals was rained out today. They have a doubleheader tomorrow. Really curious to see what Cleveland can do. They lost 10 in a row. Then they turned around 11-3 in the last 14. Curious to see how they do with 2 games in one day. The matchups, I believe, were actually pretty interesting. It was, I had the pitching matchups here just a second ago. It is Gavin Williams versus Michael Wacha, and then Tanner Bybee versus Chris Bubich. Fantastic matchups. Curious to see what happens. In just a minute, though, Steve, I want to talk about the battle for Chicago. Cubs at White Sox. White Sox have been hot, and they continued that. We'll do that next, right here on MLB Game Night. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends and family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, on drinks, on merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible because Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, so the Chicago White Sox are hosting the Chicago Cubs in Chicago. This is, they have played 3 times this year going into tonight, which is weird to me. You should have played more than just 3 times. But the White Sox had not won any of these until tonight. 12-5 victory after leading 11-0 through 5. Just took it to the Cubs. Here is our guy, Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs, kind of about what happened for his Cubbies here.
If you're wondering why it's still light out behind me, it's because I decided to record this short after the 5th inning when the Cubs trailed 11-0. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. I don't know what to say. You want to talk about Imanaga giving up 12 hits in 3 innings, PCA and Happ having a ball drop between them, an error by Brujan, again, 5th inning, the vaunted Cubs offense getting shut out again. I want to talk about Craig Counsell. This is the type of game, and I know it's not a popular take among baseball people. This is the type of game where I need to see some fire. I need to see a press conference. I need to see something to let these guys know that this is unacceptable. I'm tired about hearing reinforcements are coming. I'm tired about hearing, well, they need this and they need that. They could go get prime Pedro Martinez and prime Sandy Koufax. If they don't start playing better baseball soon, not even that would matter. Hopefully it's just a low point in the season, and we look back at this in a month and go, man, remember that? That was the low point. Because I don't know how it can get much lower than this, but the Brewers are looming this week in Milwaukee, and these guys better figure it out soon.
What is it we just said? Everybody has a bad 2 weeks, right? I mean, the Cubs haven't been struggling that much recently. They're 5-5 in their last 10, although they've lost 2 straight. I'll give them that.
They could have picked up ground. Milwaukee lost at home, as we've touched on, with the Marlins winning in Milwaukee on Friday. So, there's still a game back. I think we got to get Connor Thomas, if he's out of the Bronx, in touch with Sam and just give him a little chuck on the shoulder and say, hey, it's going to be all right. They're looking up in Milwaukee. Yeah. But yes, you think they're going to add in the next 6 days. They're going to add. Are they going to do it right at the deadline on Thursday? Very well, could be. But he talks about Craig Counsell every once in a while. During that Phillies series for the Red Sox, I thought, just somebody get ejected, somebody throw inside just once, somebody start barking back and forth at each other. They don't necessarily do that anymore. And we're going to get into the Cardinals a little bit later on because they did do that a little bit with the Padres. We're getting into that point in the season.
Guys are tired.
They're tired. They're ornery. Something can set them off instantly. It's going to happen. But, yeah, I understand wanting to see a manager. Aaron Boone seems to know when to get ejected. Alex Cora's got ejected a couple times this year. But Craig Counsell, that could work, but it also could go against you and not get the results and what you want in return if he does something like that.
Yeah. Quick note I have on the youth movement for the White Sox here. Lennon Sosa, 2 hits, 3 RBI. Chase Medroth, 3-hit game, led off with a homer. Edgar Cuero, the catcher, had a 4-hit game. Colson Montgomery homered. You can see this starting to work. They're going to have Adrian Hauser move at the deadline. They're going to get Shane Smith back from the IL eventually. You can see the White Sox starting to put it together. They're not quite where the Athletics are or the Marlins are, but you can see the progress and you can see all the teardown deals starting to manifest on the field in hits, in runs, in wins. And I love that.
Yeah. And maybe the goal right now is not to lose 100.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want to lose 110, but you want to be as close to 100 or below 100, as you can be at the end of the season. I think that's success. And, you're going to have another losing season, but if you make great strides here across the board, this will be a successful second half, and they'll build on that come spring training. There'll be some excitement brewing on the other side of town in Chicago.
Yep. All right, Diamondbacks at Pirates. Diamondbacks won this one in 11 innings, 1-0. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, the sheer pointlessness of a 0-0 tie. That's a soccer reference. But here's Gary from Locked On Pirates about a frustrating game.
You know, if you don't laugh, you'll cry sometimes. The Pirates were just one hit in 11 innings. To lose to the Diamondbacks 1-0. It's not just Paul Skeens or Mitch Keller that can't get run support tonight. Mike Burrows went 6 scoreless and got himself a fat nothing as far as run support goes. Hi, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. The offensive frustration continues. Brian Reynolds just does not look himself at the plate in any way, shape, or form. I wish that I could tell you I thought this was a normal drop-off for a guy that's getting into that kind of territory. But that's not what it looks like to me. This just looks like a guy that can't find any kind of semblance of timing whatsoever. Sometimes the best thing to do with Brian in that situation is to give him the rare day or two off in a row. They don't do it very often, but I think it's getting warranted at this point. Plus, you've only got a couple days left. Showcase your bench, you know? Hey, give Peguero a start. Give Canario a start. Give Reynolds a couple days to sit down and think about what's going on with the bat, because it ain't happening right now. From either side of the plate, he looks outmatched. More on this on Monday on Locked On Pirates, you know, unless I see you before then because of a trade.
Okay. He's talking about Brian Reynolds, right? Like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he was 0 for 5 today. Brian Reynolds had 6 hits in the Detroit series. Like, this is not it, Gary. We all kind of do this, right? We have one egregiously bad game. He goes 0 for 5 in this one, and we're like, what is wrong with the dude? He had one bad game after, like, what is this? The last I'm looking at it right now. The last 7 games, he's batting .333. I mean, it's just one bad game. I don't quite think we're at the point of panicking about Brian Reynolds just yet.
Yeah, but he's the guy who they locked up. You know,
Yeah,
he's got the
true.
contract and he wants to be there. He wants to see this through. But that, I mean, if all of a sudden you heard, you know, O'Neal Cruz, I heard the name this week. I just can't stand hearing, you know, we're just going to cherry pick from the Pirates and they're a 4A club and we'll just take whatever they have. No, they're one of 30 big league clubs. But Brian Reynolds would bring back something.
Yeah.
But again, you want to keep somebody like that in the clubhouse. We just talked about the White Sox inching slowly forward. The Pirates, they're stuck in the mud. And Gary's told us that plenty of times throughout the course of the season in his own way.
Yep. Merrill Kelly versus Andrew Heaney tomorrow. This could be both those guys' last starts with those teams. All right.
They've got to be thinking about that, right?
Yeah. They know. It's in their heads. They know. Okay. Rays at Reds. Real quick. Reds win this one 7-2. TJ Friedel gets 2 hits. It's a 2-run homer in the 6th. Nick Martinez goes 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Zach Littell for the Rays, 6 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs. I feel like that's a stat line you don't see a lot anymore. Dude goes 6 innings with 10 hits, and he just doesn't get pulled early. But this one, I'm excited about tomorrow's matchup. Ryan Pepio versus Andrew Abbott, 2 young guns. Excited to see what they can do. Kind of real quick, what was your takeaways from your Red Sox hosting the Dodgers in Philly?
Yeah, Dodgers never trailed. It was a 3-2 game in the top of the 8th inning. Jorge Alcala came out of the bullpen. I said it on the Locked On Red Sox postcast. If you didn't think Teoscar Hernandez was going to hit a 2-run home run in that situation, then you weren't paying attention to the game, because his 2-run home run added to the lead, 5-2 final. Red Sox 7-game homestand at Fenway comes to an end. They're just 2-5 now through their first 7 out of the break. And Shohei Ohtani, 1 for 4, walked, 2 strikeouts, 5 straight games with a home run. That streak coming to an end Friday night in the victory for LA.
I'm excited about the passing the baton start tomorrow. Kershaw versus Crochet.
I like how you did that.
That's a really fun one. It's the last generation, the next generation. That's going to be a fun matchup. I'm going to make sure I catch that around my Braves games. Okay. In just a second, I want to talk about, you mentioned some fireworks and Padres Cardinals. Got a little testy. We'll get to that next right here on MLB Game Night. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. I've got a friend who works at a business where he can wear hats, but he can't have logos. He has an Atlanta Braves color blue and red hat that looks just like it's a Braves hat, but there's no logos on it. That's the whole idea behind what Game Day Hue does. I've worn mine to tailgates. I've worn mine to tee times, out running errands. I keep one of these in the Jeep so that no matter what I'm wearing, if I've got crazy hair from driving around in the Jeep, I can throw a hat on that's just plain, clean looking, and I can go about my day. It's not just hats, too. Check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course. So right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue, Hue.com. The code even stacks on the bundles. So now is the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. I see you changed to your Game Day Hue hat there for the Red Sox. I like that. Okay, Padres at Cardinals. Cardinals win this one 3-0. They've won the first 2 games of the series now. The rebound game for Miles Mikolas, he gave up all those homers, a couple starts ago. He goes 5+ innings, 7 hits, no runs, no walks, only 1 strikeout, but who cares? He didn't give up a run. But the bench is cleared a little early because Nick Pivetta came a little too far inside and got Wilson Contreras.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. It's going to happen. I saw it just on social media. Didn't see it live on MLB Network or anywhere. Yeah. But can we please, I'm begging right now. Dugouts can empty, that's fine. But if you're in the bullpen, you're not allowed to leave.
My favorite thing is when they run all the way to the field, and by the time they get out to the diamond, it's over. Like everything's done. They gotta go all the way. They gotta go all the way back out to the bullpen. Yeah. I always love when that happens.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know what to make of the St. Louis Cardinals. I really don't. And JD sort of, like everyone who wants to go, whoever they want to move by next Thursday, go right ahead. It's been I mean, they're over 500, so you have to think they're in it, but there's going to be a team or two after Thursday next weekend for us, and then the following week where all of a sudden they may have made a move or two, but they're going to go in the tank.
Yeah,
Cardinals could be that team where all of a sudden they're 3 under 500 in 10 to 14 days. I don't know, but right now 3 over again.
So we're calling them this year's Twins. Okay, got it. My Braves went to Arlington to take on the Rangers. 8-3 win. This was frustrating for me. Atlanta did not get their first hit with a runner in scoring position until they were down 8-1 in the 9th inning. It just absolutely terrible and frustrating. Drove me nuts that this happened. The Rangers led 4-1 through 7. Atlanta had 2 runners on in 3 of the first 5 innings and just couldn't get it done. And multiple times it was like Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr. both strike out. Like things like that where they should have done it and they didn't. Good news though for the Rangers. Corey Seager walked twice. His on-base streak is now 25 games. Tomorrow is Grant Holmes and Kumar Rocker. So we'll see what happens there. Can Atlanta get back into it? I don't know what's going to happen.
And the Rangers are a half game back of the Red Sox for that 3rd wild card right now in the AL. All of a sudden, they've gained some momentum.
Yeah. Okay. Rockies at Orioles. The Rockies traded away Ryan McMahon today to the Yankees and then turned around down 4-0 and rallied to beat the Orioles 6-5. What was your kind of one real big takeaway from this game?
Ezequiel Tovar. Not a lost season, but he had the solo home run in the 8th inning. That broke the 5-5 tie. The Rockies should make some, again, White Sox, they're not quite the White Sox, I don't think. But again, just stick it to teams. I mean, it's the Orioles. They're another basement dweller. But maybe have some influence when you're playing above 500 teams and teams that are in contention here the rest of the way.
The reason I love doing the show with you is you have the greatest stats. On the rundown here, you have a note. The Orioles are the only club in the big leagues to not have a walk-off win this year. I don't know.
That's not mine. I got it from AP. It was on the ESPN.com AP story, so that's not mine. But wow, I added it in there. Yeah, I mean they had, and as a young team, they should have some. And Halverson worked the 1, 2, 3 ninths for the save, is 10th for the Rockies. I mean, he's got 10 saves for a team that's got 27 wins. Good for him.
Yeah. Okay. We have 3 games and we have like 2.5 minutes left. Nationals at Twins. Twins win this one 1-0. These teams combined for 6 hits. Just dreadful. Zebby Matthews versus Mackenzie Gore was actually surprisingly entertaining, although Gore walked 6 guys. Kind of sloppy. Byron Buxton gets a sac fly in the 5th. It's the only run of the game. He gets the RBI. Mitchell Parker versus Joe Ryan. Edge goes to the Twins there, but I don't really want to watch this game. It sounds terrible to say that. I don't want to watch this game tomorrow.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
I got no problem with that.
Okay, cool. I'll take Mariners Angels. You take Mets Giants. Mariners Angels. Right. This is Zach Neto gets the walk-off 3-2 win. He has an RBI single in the 10th. 7th time the Angels have gotten a walk-off this year. Series is now tied 1-1. Julio Rodriguez had 2 solo shots, one in the 1st, one in the 6th. 3 homers on the series. Ruined a great start from Brian Wu. 6 innings pitched, only 2 runs. Jose Soriano, though, absolutely dueled him as well. 6 innings, 2 runs. So just did not expect that to happen. I believe, if I saw this correctly, George Kirby versus Tyler Anderson tomorrow. Interesting matchup.
Sign us up. Mets take the opener in San Francisco, 8-1 victory against the Giants. With that, the Mets have won 5 in a row. Francisco Lindor, 3 hits, double, home run, stolen base, 3 runs scored. Jose Castillo, interesting one here. Left-hander brought up, gave up a hit, but struck out 3 in the 9th inning. The Mets also added a reliever. They did make a trade with the Orioles, sending 2 minor leaguers to Baltimore on Friday for lefty reliever Gregory Soto. He should be with the team over the weekend at some point.
Yeah, Mets are now half a game up on Philly in the NL East. So we'll see that we're following that down the stretch. This has been MLB Game Night. For Steve Lennox, I'm Lindsey Crosby. Do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live every single night, because MLB Game Night is every single day, is every single game, every single night, 7 days a week. Until next time, this has been MLB Game Night.